What is up, everybody? Welcome back to High School Never Ends, a pop punk dad podcast. I am Wingman Steve.
And I'm Chris, 183, and welcome back, everybody out there in listener land. That is right. We are still in movie May, even though we're at the very tail end. And if you've been following along, you know that this movie May is different than previous movie Mays, because this is movie May's soundtrack edition. And today we're going to talk about a soundtrack for a movie, Steve, that I believe we've talked about before.
I feel like we talked about it a lot. We definitely did an entire episode on the movie, and I feel like it's been maybe that was it. I just feel like, yes, we have discussed this a lot, but when we were kind of choosing which soundtracks we liked, this was one that I actually purchased, so I thought we should talk about it.
Yeah, so the movie is not another teen movie. Steve, you really liked this one, didn't you? This movie.
I did. I am a big fan of parody movies in general, and I found this one, while very silly, stupid, whatever you want to call it, I found it endearing. I really liked it. I've seen, it's a movie that is spoofing other teen comedies, and I've seen almost all the teen comedies. We're spoofing She's All That and 10 Things I Hate About You, Can't Hardly Wait, American Pie, Varsity Blues. So like all of these were either the teen comedies that we kind of grew up with, or they were the ones that were like from the 80s that we like probably watched when we were little kids. So I really liked the spoof, and it's Chris Evans super early. I definitely thought that when this movie came out in 2001, Jamie Presley was one of the most attractive women in Hollywood, and so liked seeing her on screen. And yeah, I liked it overall.
Isn't it funny that only in the late 90s, early 2000s would they do a comedy about a bunch of comedies?
Well, there was this. There was, Scary Movie. I'm sure there were others, right?
That was a comedy about a horror franchise, but
I guess, yeah, you're right.
This was a comedy about a series. Now, again, it's maybe not all that, because you're also mixing in movies like She's All That. Those weren't necessarily comedies; those are more dramas.
Yeah, there was some
dramas.
American Beauty was touched on. Cruel Intentions was touched on. I think it's just those, I hate to call them coming of age type, but teen.
They're teens.
Teen movies, yes. That's why it's called Not Another Teen Movie.
It was the Renaissance during that period of time. There was some really good ones. Do they still have really good teen comedies and dramas and that sort of thing in the year 2025?
I don't know. I'm kind of less interested in that type of programming. Although I do like college age stuff. I just started I watched the whole season of this show on Amazon called Overcompensating, which is it was about these people that go to college, and it's a guy who's like struggling with his sexuality because he's a jock, but he's really gay. And then he meets a girl and they like kind of hit it off, but all these things happen. And that's no spoiler alert. That's like in the trailer. So I kind of like some of them. There was another one that I watched recently. Oh, it was called The Sex Lives of College Girls. That was on HBO. That was funny. I think that was you watched that? I think it's a Mindy Kaling show. So I found that funny, but it's just like, I don't get into, my wife always makes fun of me because I don't really like women coming of age in like their teens. That type of movie is not interesting to me.
But do they do this kind of teen comedy anymore? That's the thing. Like American Pie, if it was out in 2025, I might watch it, right? Because old school, like that sort of thing. I don't know if they do that as much anymore. I think that might have been a period piece.
I think it hit its peak back in the 90s and the first 10 years of the 2000s. I think that it's slowed down. There's probably still some. The problem is that there's so many of these streaming services that make their own movies that a lot of times, even if some funny or good movies come out, it's hard to market them, and it's hard to know what to watch and where it is. So there are some funny ones that I think maybe just get overlooked.
The other thing is you hit the nail on the head, where I think nowadays maybe that same type of material is packaged up in the form of a TV show, versus a movie. And there's more of that out there because of the streaming services, because of the ease of access for that. And of course, you have more freedom to do more things, to add more characters and more storylines and so on and so forth. So, I don't hate that. I think that's a good thing, but this wasn't that time. And it's cyclical too, because if you think about it, a lot of these types of teen dramas, teen comedies, sorry, They were popular in the 80s too. You know, everything from Porky's to uh Pretty in Pink and then 16 Candles. Like that was the Renaissance prior to this time period where they did a lot of the similar things, just updated. I'd be surprised to see if they do the same thing here at some point in time in the future. But for right now, we talk about this one, which is spoofing those movies. And yes, we've already talked about the movie. Anything else that you want to talk about history wise with the movie itself before we get into the soundtrack stuff?
Yeah, this is all about the soundtrack. And again, if you missed this, it was last year, February. It was we did a February Folly month where we just did silly stuff and we talked about the silly movie. So that was a deep dive of the movie. So if you want to hear us talk in depth about the movie, go back into the archives and check that out. And also a shout out to our patrons, Nick, Punkishtad, Tom, Ashley, Jason, Jeff, and Sam. Thank you. We have some fun stuff going on very soon on our Patreon, so join that if you'd like. The movie itself and the history, you know, came out in December 14th, 2001, made a little bit of money at the box office. It was like it made $66.5 million. It was directed by Joel Gallen. The soundtrack came out December 4th, 2001 on Maverick Records. So it was just 10 days prior to the actual film coming out. And one thing that we love is cover songs. And we spent like a whole summer talking about cover song, or was it a winter? I forget. It was an entire season that we talked about cover songs. We've talked about them extensively, but we've never talked about cover songs on a soundtrack because, Chris, every single one of the songs on the soundtrack is a cover.
Yeah, I had no idea. I never listened to the soundtrack ever.
Really?
And I was pleasantly surprised.
I thought you had said that you liked the soundtrack when we initially were picking.
I don't know. I didn't. I mean, I liked what I saw, but I did not necessarily know the soundtrack. No.
And I'm curious as we go through these, how many of the originals you are familiar with, because not all of them are the most popular songs. So that'll be an interesting topic of discussion.
Yeah. What's also interesting is, yes, I was not familiar with this soundtrack. I didn't listen to it. I didn't buy it. I know I've been pretty spot on with having the physical version of most of the soundtracks we've talked about during this movie May soundtrack edition, Steve. But this one I don't have, and that's weird. It probably just wasn't the time for me. I probably had gotten over really wanting them, and honestly, like, you know, coming out of college, you know, graduating college in that spring of 2001, obviously looking for you know, a decent job or a full-time job coming from college. Money was probably tight and didn't necessarily have the money to spend on just CDs at the time, especially just a random soundtrack. But my point is, there were some songs on here that I was very familiar with, and there's a couple reasons why, and we'll get into that as we go through the soundtrack list.
Yeah, I probably bought it because of Mest and Good Charlotte. Like, these are two. I was 2001. I'm right in my pop punk discovery phase, and those are two bands that I was very interested in. And then Good Charlotte's actually in the movie for a couple of minutes, and so that probably is what made me go out and buy it. And I did like, you know, I used to like Napster download different cover songs, and this was, you know, an entire record, and a good portion of them were pop punk cover songs, and some of the ones that weren't specifically pop punk were also very good. So that's what made me interested in it. I did purchase it. You know, I don't have my physical CDs, but I have the burned copy of the WAV files or the Windows Media audio files on my desktop computer, though.
Check your timing, because I don't think Napster worked anymore in 2001.
It definitely did, but it worked because I had, when I went to Penn State in 01, we got free Napster subscription. So it was probably when you had to pay for it. But since I was a college student, Penn State had a deal where it was free for me.
That's what I mean by it didn't work anymore. Is you had to pay for it.
Yes, you did have to pay for it.
So
I believe
we moved on to Kazaa from Napster.
BearShare, LimeWire, all those
and that was, it was awful. Like Kazaa stuff, you would get just the worst rips of anything. So I wasn't a fan of that. But no, actually, the two that I picked were two different ones. It was what I was kind of referring to was Orgy and Goldfinger. And I'll talk about why that is. But I think that the Orgy one's pretty prevalent. The Goldfinger one probably is more unique to me, but well, again, we'll talk about that when we get into the songs.
Yeah, we'll put those in our pocket. We're going to start with some Marilyn Manson, who's covering the song Tainted Love, originally by Gloria Jones. And I'll kick this off here. I think the contrast between the bubbly, poppy original, and I don't really know Gloria Jones, but I know this song.
You know, Soft Cell.
That's so Gloria Jones did it originally, then Soft Cell did it, and then Marilyn Manson did it.
But Soft Cell is probably the most popular, would you say?
Yeah, that's the one. There's it's very prevalent in the movie Coneheads, a movie that I like. But to me, so maybe I don't even know the real original. I was thinking Soft Cell, but that one is very, again, bubbly, poppy, and then you contrast this with this dark electronic version that Marilyn Manson does. I think it's pretty insane. I'm not a huge Marilyn Manson fan. Like, I liked a couple of his singles. I never really got too into his whole shtick, but I think this one is pretty awesome. It fit the movie well. The part where it hits in the movie is when they're introducing the character who's supposed to be the spoof off of the Cruel Intentions Mean Girl, kind of, with the black hair, and she says all that nasty stuff. So she's like walking down the hallway, and it's like dun 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 dun. And I think that in terms of the song, the decisions that they made with the electronics and the electronic elements just worked so well with those crazy heavy feedback guitars that I thought this is a great cover, and I think it was a good spot to put it at first.
Yeah. I never got the whole Marilyn Manson stuff in the 90s and 2000s. I really didn't. I never really bought into that music. I thought that some of the stuff he did was okay, somewhat listenable. As it turns out, he's a horrible creep,
Yes.
in terms of an individual.
Did you watch that documentary about him?
I won't watch it. I've heard of things, and I do not want to watch it. Should I not watch it?
It's not really about him. It's I think that the person he was married to, I think her name is Rose McGowan, right? And it's kind of her. And there's also, is the Evan Rachel Wood, is that her?
Yes.
It's both of them, right?
Yes.
I think the documentary was mostly from Evan Rachel Wood, if I remember correctly, because it was one of those things I binged and I just like kind of mostly forgot. But it was very screwed up. And if all these things that they said are true, which I got the impression that they are, then he is disturbed individual, and
yeah,
there like probably should have been charges.
It's like, oh, it's just a show. It's like, is it really though? It could, but anyway. So besides the artist himself, this isn't the first time he had the chance to make a regular song scary. He did the same thing with Sweet Dreams, from the Eurythmics. And I don't know if you ever saw the Sweet Dreams video, Steve. First time I saw the video for that song, I think it was at 2:00 at night by myself in my room, in the dark. I was petrified. It was scarring to watch that video.
Sounds scary.
It is really bad. Like, it's so weird, and it's like the most just lucid nightmare you could probably possibly think of a video itself. But this song lends well to his style, so I'll give it that. Like, you want to do that industrial techno horror metal type sound in with Tainted Love, and I think that it's a natural pairing, and so it sounds fine. It's hard to mess this song up, and I think there's a couple songs on this soundtrack where it's really hard to mess them up. Per se, this is one of them. I don't think he goes in like too much of a weird direction. It's just Marilyn Manson singing Tainted Love, and that's really all it is. So I think it's fine. I like Tainted Love, the song. I don't love it. And so I like his version of it, but I don't love it.
Fair enough. All right, keep it going.
All right, so the next one, Never Let Me Down Again. I guarantee you that if you listen to the cover, you may not necessarily know who did this originally, but if you listen to the original, most that have a history in the 90s and know who Depeche Mode were and listen to their stuff would recognize the original song. And I would say that, you think about this original Depeche Mode song. First of all, I'll just start it out by saying, like, I love Depeche Mode. I think they're really great. I think they're amazing, actually, in a lot of different ways. Musically and vocally. It's just astronomically good the way that they kind of put songs together and the way that they sound. I don't know how you feel about that, Steve, but that's where I'm at with Depeche Mode. So for this song, when you listen to the song "Never Let Me Down Again" and you remove that Depeche Mode part of the song, like that techno backing and that faster beat and the vocals, I think this one falls a little flat. I don't think that this song, like the Pumpkins, sound like the Pumpkins. But unlike track number one, with Manson, the marriage between these two, it doesn't work as well. I think that it takes the oomph out of the song. It makes the song a little bit too floaty, and frankly, I think it makes it boring and it drags on just too much. So I'm a Pumpkins fan. I love a lot of the things that they do and the songs they have, but I just didn't think this one worked as well. So that's where I'm at. Steve, what did you think about Never Let Me Down Again?
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with you. And, we go from this like hard rock banger in Tainted Love to this chill, like drum and strum jam here. I mean, Billy Corgan's voice is always cool, but I don't have a lot of ties to the original song. I mean, I know a little bit about Depeche Mode. I never really listened to them all that much. I can't recall listening to this song before. And in this spot here on the soundtrack, with as much cool stuff as on it, this is one that I easily skip, which is, it's kind of a bummer that they do this a lot. They kind of sandwich some of the slower songs in between some of the faster or harder songs. But this one I really couldn't get into, similar to you. And I didn't have the tie to Depeche Mode, so I didn't really care all that much, to be honest. So not too favorable on this one.
I think it made me like it less though, because I had that tie. See, what happened was in the '90s, my dad really got into Depeche Mode, and he would buy all these best of tapes, cassette tapes,
Yeah.
and that's why I know a lot of their songs and have listened to them. And he bought full albums too, but this was definitely on one of the best ofs that he had, and I remember this one playing in the car a lot. So I have ties to that, but again, like it doesn't bode well to Billy Corgan's voice, and it just didn't make it for me. So
musically, was it kind of a straight cover, or did they do things very differently than the original?
It was different. It was different. It was more of like an upbeat, a little bit more upbeat. Again, Depeche Mode's heavy on that techno backing, and that just sounded better here. It was a more well put together song than more of like a floaty. I don't even know what they were doing here with this one with the Pumpkins. So, good try, Billy, but not my thing.
All right. Well, if you're into that electronic and that kind of stuff, then the next one will probably be right up your alley. I'll start. I don't have that much, so I know that you had some things you want to talk about it. But Blue Monday by the band Orgy, originally by a band called New Order. I was playing this in the car. My wife, she goes, "This is like one of the biggest cover songs ever," and she may be right. I don't know. I actually kind of have similar comments for this one as I did for Tainted Love. I thought that the electronic elements that they chose and they pair that with these hard rock guitars and this lead singer's voice is pretty much is awesome. And I mean, I know this cover version way more than I know the original. Like, I've definitely heard the original, but I know this version way more. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the biggest. It's the biggest cover for Orgy. Even looking at streams, about 79 million streams for Blue Monday versus 15 million for their next best one. So I mean, it's night and day. I don't know about your wife's claim. She might be close. But I can tell you that this one was in heavy rotation during this time period, and maybe even before that on the radio. I think this song may have definitely come out before this soundtrack came out. So they may have just added it to it. Can't promise you that. And it probably was on one of the Orgy albums that they had put out before that. I didn't do the digging on that. But
You're right.
ultimately it's
Came out in 1998.
then there you go. So it had been out for a few years. I remember this being on all the time. And it came out during that time period where this type of music, started to become in vogue with, like a Marilyn Manson or like a Stabbing Westward or bands like that were like that post grunge hard rock type of sound, a little bit faster pace with the synth involved with it. That was big around this late 90s time frame. And I remember that being on the radio, in friends' cars, on tapes and that sort of thing. So I don't think that this song was definitely one that I loved more than anything else in the world. I didn't really get into New Order a ton before this, so backing the old song versus this one wasn't a thing for me. New Order was a good band; they put out a lot of good songs. I just wasn't into them. I appreciate their version of this, and it's completely different. But I think it's a straight up cover, Steve. I think it's in the vein of what Marilyn Manson did with Tainted Love, even though it's probably like 8% less scary than what he's doing there with that one. And that's probably about it. I think that's also probably why this became such a big radio hit. You think about a cover in a different way to take a song that maybe wasn't quite as popular. I don't know how popular Blue Monday was when it was out with New Order. I could be misspeaking completely, but I don't know if it was a huge hit. But I definitely think this song brought it into the forefront in that time period. Whereas, on its own merits, I'm not sure it would have gotten to those heights. So good for Orgy. I don't know if they've done much since then. I know I have family members. My brother's a big fan of this band, so he might know. But
your brother's a
I
big
don't.
fan of orgies. Got it.
No, the band Orgy.
Oh, that's what you said.
Yes, I said what I said.
Orgies. Yes.
Well, is the next one mine?
Yeah. System of a Down.
The Metro. The Metro. So I'll tell you what. So listening to this soundtrack straight through, I had no idea what this was when I listened to it. I do know System of a Down 100%, and I am a huge fan of their music. I love what they do. I could listen to any of their albums and be entertained from front to back. I think that they're just eclectic style, their hard edge and just guitars. They're amazing in so many different ways. I don't think that they have put out new music in a while, which is sad. But what I have, I've definitely. I'm glad I have it and I've celebrated it. But this one here, like I didn't know what this song was. So, Steve, when I took a look at where the song came from, this one actually came from the band Berlin. I don't know if that's a band or a woman or both. But Steve, do you know what else Berlin sang that was very popular in the 80s?
Tell me. I have no idea.
Take My Breath Away.
Oh,
Take
really?
My breath away. Yes.
Wow.
That was Berlin. So they put out this song, The Metro. If you listen to it, this is like 1980s at its peak. If you listen to this song, like you're immediately transported back to the 80s at any point. I'd probably say the mid to early 80s versus the late 80s. So there's definitely a lot of charm with that if you appreciate that time period with the original song. I don't know if so this is where I kind of take a turn though. I don't know if the style of System of a Down makes this song better. I think it makes it different. And I think there's some weird choices that they made with this one just to make it their own, because System of a Down has a unique style to what they do. Like I said, I just don't know if it made this song any better. I thought it maybe just made it okay. So I appreciate the charm of the original. I appreciate a ton what System of a Down does and the music they have, but I don't know if the mixing of the two really worked here. Not saying they did a bad job. I just don't know if it ended up being the product that I probably would have wanted. Steve, what did you think?
I kind of liked System of a Down's, their first album, the one Toxicity, and is that the name of the album, Toxicity?
That is an album, yes.
I think that's the one that I liked, and I had one of my college buddies was very interested in it, and we listened to it very loudly on large speakers. So I like their whole kind of thing, but I found the song to be mostly pretty bad. I liked the intro, the beginning to it with like the drums and the guitar, and I really liked the guitar melody. The first verse is pretty good too, but the thing is, like when they kick in with the like chaotic chorus and they do that like nutty System of a Down thing, like in this song, it just kind of loses it for me. And then I think it's kind of on and off for the rest of the song. When they get into that shtick, I don't know, maybe just in the realm of this soundtrack, I'm not as into it as like if I sit down and listen to System of a Down by themselves. But I didn't particularly like this song. I do not know the original at all.
Listen to it, let me know what you think, because again, it has that 80s, just that 80s charm. You feel like you're in the middle of 80s Germany, I guess, if it's Berlin, right? But whatever, right? It just feels like you're back in that time period. And I like that kind of thing. I think that's something cool about that. It's not the most it's not the most, I don't know, it's not the most advanced or just complicated song. Definitely isn't. But a lot of songs in the 80s weren't, super complicated. They were simple. And this is one of them.
Okay.
So go check that out.
All right. But I will, but not tonight. And the next song is called But Not Tonight by Scott Weiland by himself. And, I kind of equate this song a little bit. It's, kind of like it's another, again, they're going back and forth. They're really alternating and putting slower songs in between some harder ones. This is a chiller, slower song, but I think it's better than the Smashing Pumpkins chiller, slower song. And I feel like you're going to be mad that I don't really know this song, another one by Depeche Mode, the original, but it is what it is. I think that this one, the cover, it's just got like a really cool, like ethereal vibe to it. It's got that high pitched guitar and it's mixed with Scott Weiland's voice, which is awesome. So I like this one.
I'm going to agree with you. I like this one too. So let's start with Depeche Mode. So I didn't know this song, Steve. I wasn't familiar with this one. I had to look this up, but when I did listen to it, and you go back and you listen to the original Depeche Mode, because it makes a difference when you listen to that song. That track is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Because here's the thing, like I listened to the Scott Weiland version of this first, and I thought to myself, like, wow, like this Scott is just killing this one. Like he has that whisper singing voice that is, and I'm a huge Stone Temple Pilots fan. I loved what Scott Weiland did. I didn't follow him as much when he became a solo artist, but his voice definitely just a mainstay of one of the most important eras of music that I could think of in my life. And, obviously during the 90s. And, what he did here, it was really cool the way that he sang this song and the music behind it, because the music was once again a little eclectic. It was weird. It wasn't just straightforward guitars or violins or anything. It was something different, but it gave it really a nice tune, right? Whatever the mix was. However, if you go back and you listen to that Depeche Mode track, it's the same song, but it's different in a lot of ways. So, well, I think, Weiland's style here isn't doesn't create an issue or a divide. Um, it's just I think this song is so much better, and I hate to do this every single time and say, well, the original's better, but I really do truly believe that the original is better because of the pace of the song. Depeche Mode does this at a faster pace with that synth track behind it. I think this song lends better to that. That said, this song, on its own merits, I would still listen to again and again as just a different thing. So to me, I think this is the best of both worlds. I think you're getting, a different version that you can still enjoy, and a version of the original that is just as good and in some people's opinions, if not better. So you're getting two for the price of one here. I'm a big fan of this one, and I think it's a win-win.
Awesome. Well, I wonder if you feel the same about Saliva.
Yeah, this isn't Saliva, Steve.
The next one is.
No, it's not.
What do you mean it's not?
Oh, you know what? This was a miss on Spotify.
It was
This was
grayed out.
not on
It was not
Spotify.
on Spotify.
All right, so you talk about this. I didn't listen to this one.
Oh, okay. Well, the song is called Message of Love by the band Saliva. And originally it's by the Pretenders. Since it's not on Spotify, I had to go to YouTube to find this one. So if you want to listen to it, that's where it is. The beginning of this track actually sounds like Marilyn Manson's "Beautiful People." It's got a similar vibe, and I guess they got invited to be part of this soundtrack off of the high of their one song "Click Click Boom." It's actually funny when I don't know, I guess I was 17 or so, somewhere around when this came out. I was dating this girl, and for some reason, like for my birthday, she went to the CD store and she bought me the Saliva album that had Click Click Boom on it. And I never mentioned that I liked this band or anything. Like I guess she just kind of thought that I would. And I can't say that I listened to that full album more than a single time. I did like that one song, Click Click Boom, but not so much everything else. And this song to me is just a pretty mid. You're not missing all that much. It's a pretty mid alternative rock song. It's got a decent enough tune. I would say you should listen to it because he does have kind of a screamy part, the lead singer, at the end. He's just kind of screaming Message of Love a few times. And I didn't hate his screams. It wasn't like your emo scream, but it was, I don't know how to describe it. But I would say check it out. But overall, kind of a mid-level song here. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, bro. Saliva's butt rock. Okay.
Sure.
It just is. It's the dregs of tribal tattoos.
Like, why didn't you get me Crazy Town instead?
I mean, they probably tried. I don't know what to tell you.
They probably packaged those together.
It's just there's no way the song's good. I'll give it a chance. I'm going to listen to it, but I'm kind of glad that I didn't.
Yeah, like I said, you didn't miss much. And now because you didn't listen to that one, you can start off Stabbing Westward, which you already referenced once.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I was a fan of Stabbing Westward when they had come out. I think it's What Do I Have to Do, if I'm not mistaken. That was the song that was their first hit. And that was probably like, again, 96, 97. I can't remember exactly, but I had a couple buddies that were really into that band, and I never had the CD or the tape or anything, but I liked it. I liked their radio hits for sure. What they are is kind of like, again, like I said, like a post grunge hard rock type of sound. A little bit of synth involved with this band too. So if you like that, then you're gonna like this version of the song "Bizarre Love Triangle." So "Bizarre Love Triangle" was, and I don't know if it goes back before New Order, but New Order, from what I know, is the original band that sang this.
It is.
What's interesting is, several different bands have done Bizarre Love Triangle, and I'm sure there might be more than what I can see here on Spotify. It's an easy song to cover. Pete Yorn was one of them. Frente with an exclamation point was another one. And I'm very familiar with the Frente version because I had a mix that I played when you had lady friends over in the college time frame area that I would play, and Frente Bizarre Love Triangle was on that mix, Steve. And it's kind of like a classical, not classical, like an acoustic guitar version of the song, like a singer-songwriter version of the song. Go listen to it. Frente Bizarre Love Triangle. Let me know what you think. But in any case, this version is much different, obviously a lot harder in scope, and you got that harder sound, harder rock band. Still very different from the original Bizarre Love Triangle. New Order is just obviously to listen to it, it's like super 80s in a lot of ways. Synth, of course. I think they also bled over into the 90s too, but different in a lot of ways. This one, more guitar driven, just a grungier sound, had that synth in it, which is similar, but it was different, right? So it's a straight up, I think it's more of like a straight up, if you went to a bar and you listened to Stabbing Westward cover Bizarre Love Triangle straight, that's what this is. outside of the fact that there were bells integrated into the song. And if you heard the bells, Steve, but they were in there, and that was a weird choice. But otherwise, I don't know. I thought it was fine. I think they did it justice, and I would listen to it again. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is a great original song. It's a great cover song. I think the lead singer of Stabbing Westward, I don't know anything about them. I don't know their hits. I don't know. I know this one song. That's all I know. Unless there's a song that you'll tell me that I know that I can't remember that it's them, but they were completely off my radar. But I thought the lead singer had a good voice. They took a very 80s sounding, song, and I feel like they modernized it just enough to, not lose any of the original vibe, but to make it their own. I didn't find it hard rock at all. I thought it was kind of, soft alty rock. At least this version was. And you mentioned, very strong highlights on the xylophone. I thought that was cool. And they had the singer again had really good voice inflection throughout the song. So I thought it was nicely done cover. I liked it.
Go listen to Save Yourself and you will know exactly who Stabbing Westward is.
If you say so. Again, it doesn't ring a bell, but
it's a song that was on the radio the most.
Okay.
So. And I also feel like it might have been on a soundtrack somewhere.
Well, because of your skipping of saliva, now I get to kick off Goldfinger and 99 Red Balloons. That's just how it happens, man. So the original 99 Luftballons, I guess, would be by a band called Nina.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or a female called Nina?
It's a band or is this a person?
I would guess it's her name, but I don't know.
I mean, I know the song. I can hear it in my head, but I don't.
Is Martika that sings Toy Soldiers, is that a band or is it actually Martika?
Whatever you tell me it is, I have no clue. But I think if you were to look up the definition of an awesome fucking cover, the result of that would be 99 Red Balloons by Goldfinger. I mean, the song 99 Red Balloons, I think it's a pretty universally known song. And I mean, they just make it so Goldfinger. Like they take the song that and completely transform it. The intro, the womp, you know what I'm saying? The womp, dun, 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 like the womps that they do, the guitar hooks, the way that they speed up the pace once they hit that first verse. They do that one verse actually in German. Like I feel like there's nothing that this cover song does not do. It is fucking fantastic. This is up there with the top cover songs like of all time.
Give me chills the way you talk about this.
It's true.
I love it. I love it. Can you imagine how excited I was back when I first heard this? Like, do you think that I shot straight through the roof of wherever I was?
I thought
straight up in.
You could have bought this album just for this.
This was on Stomping Ground.
Oh, it was?
Yes.
Oh, so they didn't do it for the
and I heard
soundtrack.
This somewhere else. I want to say maybe it was on a single somewhere. I don't know. I know I heard this somewhere because I said this before on the show. My brother bought Stomping Ground. I did not have it. So I feel like actually, you know what happened is I borrowed it from him. And that's where that has to be where I had it from. When I heard this, this is one of my probably top two. This has to be one of the best. I would say I would almost put this at number one, like just covers of all time. I hate to say that without thinking about it, but man, is this so good? Do they just, everything you said plus one, they just crush it in every single way here. You get so pumped up. I could put this on even anytime, today, yesterday, tomorrow, 10 years ago, 15 years from now. I'm still going to get pumped up about this one. And, I was so psyched about this song. I even memorized the German part so I could sing it. And I took German in high school, but still, like I still memorized the German part so I could sing it. Why? Not only did I think I'd be cool by doing that, I just wanted to. I just wanted to because it was so good. And I really didn't even really think the Nana song was amazing. Like I thought it was good. I always thought it had a cool melody and it was catchy. But when you put Goldfinger on this one, you said it, the womps, like, oh my God, how do you get better than this? This is amazing. And it's so awesome. It's on the soundtrack because, so many more people got a chance to hear it. So, man, it's really hard to get better than this.
Well, we can try. We have a Mess song next.
Yeah, well, I mean, fine, fair. So you get Goldfinger, I get Messed. Isn't that weird the way that things kind of work out? Well, I think they got thrown a softball here with the song they got. I Melt With You, Modern English song, probably one of the most, if you put on like essential 80s, you're always probably going to get Modern English, I Melt With You as a part of that. So super well known, really easy to understand melody. This was a Burger King commercial about melting with you, if you remember that. I mean, it was everywhere. So this one's hard to mess up too. Like, I think that the thing that they wanted to do here was put that pop punk flavor to it, and they accomplished what they wanted to do. I actually think Mest really just crushes this one, to be honest with you. They they do a straightforward punk cover of the song, but they do it so well. They do it almost flawlessly. And a straightforward punk cover of this song, in my opinion, is really all you needed here. That's all we needed to have, because that's all that this song needed to really kind of be better, sound better to those people that like this sound. So they made the right choice. If they would have went in a totally different direction and slowed it down or sped it up even faster, or did slow, fast, like if they would have done like all that stuff and messed up like the melody or done like a weird difference, I don't think that would have been the right move. I think they did the right thing here. They kept it simple. They added their flair to it, and it ended up being a really, really nice total package that I think was super enjoyable to listen to. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, totally agree that this is kind of an easy song to cover. In fact, if you want to look at other pop punk artists that have also covered this song, you would run into a version by Sugar Cult, which I think we've talked about on one of the Punk Goes records, and you'd run into a version by Bowling for Soup. So it's a very easy song to take and pop punk up. And I think Mest's version around this time, 2001, I was very into Mest. When I got their Destination Unknown album, I was just obsessed with it and really, really loved them. And I really like the original song. So I love this cover. There's a ton of, this is pick scrape central. Like, it's just pick scrape after pick scrape. And you add the one thing that those other bands that covered this don't have, that Mest has, is Tony's got kind of a twang in his voice a little bit. I don't know if you want to call it Midwest or whatever it is, but he definitely has a little bit of twang to his vocals. And, they took this song, which was a great song, and they totally pop punked it up and made it awesome. I love the line, "The future is open wide." Every time anyone has played that one, I don't know, that line just always kind of resonated with me. And yeah, it probably would have been difficult to fuck this one up, but they didn't in any way, shape, or form. And I think that this cover kicked ass. And this was, along with a couple other songs, this was one of the reasons why I bought this record, because this song, I don't think it appears anywhere else. So this is one of the only places to find it, along with the next song as well.
And even if it did appear somewhere else, I think you still would have bought this album based on this song. And I think Mest is your goal. So my Goldfinger is your Mest. Why don't we just say that?
I think that's somewhat equivalent. Yeah, I would take that. Got real big into them. Goldfinger has more of a catalog, obviously, and they have more longevity, but I see where you're going.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just kind of making that comparison. Go ahead, Steve. You can take this away from me, even though, well, you wouldn't know what I have to say here. So then you didn't think you were taking this away from me. So go ahead.
Yeah, so it's your favorite band, Good Charlotte, and they're doing a cover of "If You Leave" by Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark from the original. And the song is actually played by them live in the movie while they're playing the prom. And first off, I just love the guitar hook. And I find, I don't know, if you don't like Good Charlotte and they're not for you, that's fine. But I think Joel's voice is perfect for like an 80s cover. I don't know why that is, but it just seems to fit really well. The chorus just sounds great. It's way more energetic than the original. Joel does his thing where he goes a little higher on the second chorus, which I love. And then the third, I think it's the third time around. There's like a drum roll chorus in the background. It's just and it helps build the song to such a big high note. And the section with these whoa oh ohs, they throw in little harmonies at the end. I think even if you don't like Good Charlotte, I would guess that you still think that this is a good cover, but we shall see, right? Meow.
This OMD song is one of my favorite songs of the 80s. Like this is the melody on this song is unmatched in my opinion. I could listen to this song over and over and over and over and over again and never get tired of it. I love this one. It definitely is one of my favorites. Why in the world they gave it to Good Charlotte is a sick joke, in my opinion. It's like when you're on Wheel of Fortune and you hit the 5,000 and you guess like T and you get 5 T's, and on the next spin you get bankrupt. That's what I feel like with this one. That's what I really feel like. Like
Do you think they did a bad job?
I just don't want to hear his voice on this song. Like that's the problem. Is I think that they do that good Charlotte, like it's that Good Charlotte sound. It's like if I can't even do it. I have to be listening to it to do it. But it's just so I ruin. It doesn't ruin it. Let's put it that way. So I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to go that far because I still thought that the song itself holds up because it was still at its core. If you leave, so because at its core was still if you leave, and it had that pop punk twist to it. At its core, I still can enjoy the melody of the song. I still could enjoy it. But it just wouldn't be my preference. I mean, it can be any other band other than Good Charlotte. And I would have been happier with this one. I'm sad that it's one of my favorite songs of that time period had to be covered by Good Charlotte.
Oh, they did a good job.
No, I wanted anybody else. I mean, I don't even care. Take your pick. Anybody.
Simple plan.
I would have went with anybody. It didn't matter.
Machine Gun Kelly.
Dude, he's not a pop punk artist from the 2000s. He's of this era, of course, because Machine Gun Kelly was probably like 9 years old. I would have probably. I think they would have done a better job. I really do. I really think that they would have done a better job with this song, and I want to hear that version, and then we can compare the two. So let's get them on the phone.
Okay, we will do that. I will call them all up.
I'm glad I got that off my chest because I was.
Do you feel better?
I was somewhat upset. And I was ready to go in when I saw this on the list. I'm like, oh damn it, Good Charlotte, really? I was ready to write it off right away, and I gave it a chance. And for the first time, couple times through, I'm like, okay, maybe they did a good job. Maybe I'm okay with this. But then it just wore on me a little bit, and I'm like, oh damn it! Like, no, it's stupid jerk. And I remember us talking about it during when we reviewed the movie. Now that you reminded me, I can't remember what I said. I might have been a little bit nicer. But when you isolate the song, it gives me different feelings.
All right. Well, we're almost closing this guy out. I think the next one's yours.
Yeah, please, please, please. Did I skip any because of Spotify? No. Please, please, please let me get what I want. So this one is covered by the band Muse. Muse was a band of this time period that sang a weird brand of music, which I can't even necessarily say that I understand what they would be categorized as, because I don't care, I guess. The original version of this, and I had no idea, I had to look this one up, is the Smiths. The Smiths were, in a lot of people's opinion, a very important band in music history. I was never really that tied into the Smiths. I don't know whether they were just before my time. I mean, some could say Depeche Mode was before my time, but I had the gateway, through a parent. I never really had the gateway into the Smiths, so didn't really know anything about them. If you like the way Morrissey sings, then maybe you're a Smiths fan. I listened to the original. I listened to this cover. The original is what you would expect if you know what Morrissey sounds like and the type of music the Smiths have, kind of like floating along type of alt rock. This one, I really have no opinion about this cover. I I just I can't stomach Muse at all. I think that I just think their shaky, whiny 30 something yuppie rock style is awful. And this was a waste of time and a waste of a cover.
I don't think my opinions are quite different than yours, but I don't have them as eloquently laid out. I don't usually mind Muse. Like the couple of songs I know from them on the radio are fine, but I totally agree. You hit the nail on the head with the one word you use in this. At least in this song, he just sounds so whiny, and the song kind of slogs through, and I have no desire to listen to it pretty much at all.
They could have done they could have just not either. They could have done another Saliva track and I might have been happier.
Maybe. But hopefully they redeem the soundtrack redeems itself with the last song. I think Somebody's Baby by Phantom Planet, originally by Jackson Brown. I think this song is great. It fits the movie kind of perfectly. I'm not really all that familiar with the original. I would say to me, this just sounds like a pretty basic cover from like a John Hughes movie. Like this song just sounds like it belongs in a John Hughes movie and therefore belongs in the John Hughes spoof movie. So I thought it fit pretty well. I mean, do you know anything about Phantom Planet?
Nothing. No, I don't know anything about them. Never heard of them.
I've heard the name, but not. I wonder.
They're just a random band. I mean, they're just a band. I mean, I am very familiar with Jackson Brown, Steve.
Yeah.
And I love this original song. I think this is one of my favorite songs too, is Somebody's Baby by Jackson Brown. I always get
Phantom Planet
hyped.
sings the theme song to the OC, California.
Okay. Well, there you go. Never really. Can you sing that for me?
California. I never saw that show. I think that's all I know. I can kind of hear it in my head, but I can't sing any more than that word.
Yeah. I thought you were singing your Red Hot Chili Pepper song for a second.
California, California, California.
Yeah, look, I love the original. It's one of my favorite songs of that era. Jackson Brown, Somebody's Baby. It always gets me hyped every time I listen to it. I turn this one on actually pretty frequently in a lot of playlists that I have. So I could say that I have strong ties to the subject matter or the source material. I think that they just play it straight here. And once again, like Phantom Planet is smart. It's a good song already. Don't mess it up. Don't fuck it up by doing something weird. Just go straight forward. Put a little twist to it based on the music you play. And that's what everybody wants. And they gave you what everybody wants. So applause to them. I think we ended this soundtrack on a high note with a great song with a cool twist to it. So I was happy with this one.
Awesome. Well, that's the end of the soundtrack and the end of Movie May Soundtrack Edition. Okay, guys, bye.
Yeah, bye. No, we're not buying yet. We still got a couple things that we got to sell first. And I got to sell you in on the idea that we got to rank some things, Steve, because we're doing ranking it, and you got to give me your top 3 covers on this song. And I actually have a second ranking it here that I thought about before we started the show. So I'll give you that preview. I won't tell you what it is until we get there. But give me your top 3 in order, and then I'll give you mine.
All right, not super hard. Number 3 is definitely Good Charlotte. No, you didn't like it, but I love their cover of If You Leave. I am a Good Charlotte fan. The only somewhat difficulty I have had was what to put number 2 and what to put number 1, and ultimately I am going to land number 2 is Mest I Melt With You, which I love that song. But as I had mentioned, and I would be super surprised if you don't have the same number 1, 99 Red Balloons is a great cover, a great song, and it's got to be the best on the album. My number 1.
Yeah, so this is the covers. This is not the originals, and it's this was pretty easy. I mean, there was a couple that could have gone either way. Mine was number 3, but not tonight. Number 2 is Somebody's Baby, and number 1 was 99 Red Balloons. I mean, how could it not be?
It was pretty straightforward for me. Man, if you leave, I cannot believe I couldn't put that in at the number, even number three, but I just could not. I just could not. Those guys, those rascals, they
I
took
love
that
it.
away from me. He yanked it out of my hands. But my next one, and this might be a little bit tougher for you, but I'm gonna make you do it anyway. Give me your top three off of this called like a music list, a list of this set list or this album list, but the original songs. So I know you're not as familiar with all of them, but I think you probably could still do it. So top three of the original songs.
Um, yeah, that's a little tough for me because I don't know all the originals all that well. I would say if I could include the soft cell version, Tainted Love would probably be in there.
You can. Yeah.
I guess I'll do that one. I think I'll melt with you. I think I melt with you has got to be number one. And maybe I would put Bizarre Love Triangle at number two, or maybe I would mix two and three, something along those lines. Those are the three.
Yeah. So I would go Somebody's Baby as number three. I would go Yeah, I'm gonna go Bizarre Love Triangle number two, and then If You Leave at number one.
Awesome. Well, we did something a little bit different in Movie May this year. We talked about soundtracks. I think it was fun. People chimed in on Discord and on social media with some of our choices. They just released. I saw it on Instagram today. They're releasing actually a vinyl of the basketball soundtrack, so you can look that up somewhere. And maybe we influence that. Who knows?
I'd like to think so. I wonder if it has all the songs that are not included on Spotify.
There were like 3 or 4 extra songs that are included. One of the original song that Matt and Trey do, and there's no way. You know when you find something on Instagram and then you try and find it again and you'll never find it again?
Yes.
That's what's going to happen if I try and look it up. But there were like 3 or 4 songs additional that were included in it.
Is the record like a big basketball?
I saw that it was like blue, red, and white, but I don't know that I don't know if I saw a variant that was. I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn. I can't recall it.
Go check it out then. That's pretty cool. But yeah, we did it. We got through Movie May soundtrack edition. I had fun with this too, Steve, and putting a little bit of a spin on Movie May, taking it from a music standpoint and giving us the opportunity to dive into some albums that we have yet to really do, and now we got our opportunity to do it. So maybe we bring this back in the future. We take a look at some other soundtracks. Maybe we go back to movies. You never know what the future may bring. Actually, we do. Right, Steve? We know what's coming up next. I don't know if we want to talk about it, do we?
I don't know. We could. We could if we want.
I don't know. Don't we want to kind of talk about that on Patreon?
Yeah, we'll do that on Patreon. That's fine.
Yeah. But for right now, hopefully you guys enjoyed Movie May Soundtrack Edition. Hopefully you guys enjoy High School Never Ends. If you do, check us out on all the socials. Go to Spotify, iTunes. Hey, one of the things that we really love is when you leave a review on Spotify and iTunes. We have a bunch of them on there. So thank you to all of you that have done that to date. If you have not, why don't you go and do it? Go tell us what you think about the show. Not only do we really enjoy reading that, and hopefully it helps the show to, rise up the ranks. I think it's pretty cool, right? To kind of hear from those people out there that are listening on a consistent basis, or maybe just one off, what you liked, what you'd like to see a little bit more of, and what the show does for you, how it affects you personally or your life. So let us know. Use Spotify, iTunes to do that. Give us a review, written review, and a 5-star rating if you really enjoy it. Don't forget to check out our shop where we have some cool stuff like mugs, hats, and more, all branded with the High School Never End logo. You can get to our shop and links to all of our socials via our website. That's www.hsnepod.com, www.hsnepod.com.
That's right. Follow us on the socials at HSNEpod. And if you go to the website, you can get to our Discord channel where we have lots of discussions about music and shows and just life in general. And if you want to support our show, you can hit us up and follow us on Patreon. It's patreon.com/HSNEpod, where we preview what's to come each month and give bonus episodes. So check us out there. We're going to be back next week. We got a new theme for June. Until then, keep on rocking your dad bods. Throw up your rock hands and blast the pop punk.
It's Dragon Wagon.